red... No, it was magic. You were definitely the Golden Witch. Even if you deny it yourself, I'll acknowledge it. You are definitely the Golden Witch. When Balor said those words, in the world that had been dark, there was suddenly a single grain. A small grain of gold, like a wheat seed, shone brightly. And even though it was small, it had a strong gold-colored sparkle. And then, it shone on the two of them, sitting with their backs together. So each became aware of their own form. They did not exist only as consciousness. They became aware they had bodies and definitely existed. No, perhaps we should say that they had been given an existence called a body. When Balor looked at his own form, he wasn't that surprised. But when Beato looked at her own form, she was a little startled. From Balor's perspective, she looked just like normal. But for a short while, she was surprised by that form. What is going on? The sparkle from that grain of light is slowly getting stronger. The grain of wheat was no longer simply gold-colored, but was like the light of the sun. Then, it softly began to approach Beato's chest. With a grain of the sun was sucked inside her chest. The world was wrapped in a deep blue sky, and a deep blue ocean was spread out below them. An island rose up, trees sprouted, and created forest walls that surrounded us, and a ceiling swallowed us. And it was adorned with more and more things, made to be like the hall in the Ushiromiya mansion. In the middle of the fantastical hall where many gold butterflies beat their wings. Many tables were set up with white tablecloths like it was a party, and a beautiful cooking and fruits were set out. And over there were many shapes. It was everyone talking together and smiling. Everyone. There was Dad and Kiri, Uncle Kraus, Aunt Natsuhi, Aunt Rosa, and of course, even Aunt Ava and Uncle Hideyoshi. George, Jessica, Maria, wait, even Shannon, Kano, Goda, and Kumasawa are here. Everyone was at the party clapping their hands and celebrating our return. Why? Even though everyone was dead, why are they alive? In the Golden Land, the souls of all the dead can be revived. Welcome back, Beatrice. And welcome, Battler. Welcome to the Golden Land. I made it. To the door of the Golden Land. Yes, milady, you have finally managed to invite everyone here. Welcome, Battler, to the Golden Land. Battler! So you have finally made it this far. Grandfather, where in the world am I? My blood, which is incompatible with magic, runs most deeply in your veins. Therefore, you are the only one who could not reach the Golden Land, and Beatrice has been searching for you this whole time. She tried everything to bring you here. What did you say? Battler, if you would take your seat, tonight's dinner is my very best work. If you would, please relish it. You should be honored! Normally I would have eaten all of it, but I love you so out of gratitude. The 7 steaks. In the Golden Land, all those with the minds are equal. Here, there is no distinction between us furniture, humans, and witches. Battler, we're waiting here for you. Welcome to the Golden Land. Shadow, George! I still feel like this might be a dream. We should have died. But I'm alive. And everyone is here and happy. I can't believe it. That's right, this place must be a dream world. So it must be a dream that George is acting so friendly with a maid girl. Could you give it a rest, Ava? For now, you gotta stay quiet and bless the two youngins. The Golden Land is a city of bliss. You should never quarrel here. Here, any people are free to love each other. No one needs to hesitate over it. Jessica, Canon, you look so wonderful. I'm jealous. Hey, Battler, I'm a little, Battler, welcome. And welcome home. Jessica was probably embarrassed because she was holding hands with Canon. Canon wanted to act humbly like a servant and bow. But since neither of them could let go of the other's hand, he couldn't do it so well, and the whole scene looked fairly comical. With a servant child! You can't, or Jessica cannot do such a thing! It's hardly a big deal, correct? Let her at least choose the person she likes. She can! She can! Jessica! You can't either, George! As Aunt Natsuki and Aunt Ava hugged each other, they cried tears of regret for their adorable children. Even though they'd always been at odds, it was a very bizarre scene. It isn't really a problem, right? It doesn't matter who likes who. That's right. It's proof that a parent's too attached to their child. Battler, no matter what kind of woman you bring home, I'll give her a warm welcome, okay? Don't you dare introduce her to this man, okay? He'll get his hands on her immediately. They'll run off together right away. At least he's chill. Battler, you finally came here. Maria, from the very beginning, you knew we'd be coming here? That's why I wasn't scared at all. Everyone was being a coward and trembling. It was funny. What the hell? Even though I thought you were the most screwed up, you actually knew the truth from the beginning. How rude. I simply cannot forgive you for speaking of Lady Maria in that way. Formulating firing curve, attack preparations ready. Lady Maria, we can attack at any time. Ow! Be quiet. You are in the presence of Beatrice. Genji hit her. Come now, no need to be so stiff. Let's be considerate of their desire to joke around and have fun. More importantly, why don't we begin preparing for the toast? Yes, preparations for my excellent mackerel cooking are complete. I can serve it at any time. Hey, you people! Work a little more like furniture! No! I'm gonna stuff myself some more! Come on, let's work. Don't keep the guests waiting. Let's work studiously and attend to them. Don't let the guests do anything. Make them lazy, make them slothful, fatten them up like pigs. Beatrice. Battler. This way. Grandpa and the Virgilia were standing on the landing on the top of the staircase, beckoning to us. Beato and I turned our heads to see what was going on and climbed the stairs together. From the hall, it looked like a very high stage. A small table had been set up there, as well as a piece of parchment and an old-fashioned quill pen. I saw there were strange magical characters and Japanese were written side by side, and below it, many names were written. There were 17 of them. Grandfather was the first, and everyone's names had been signed all over it. The people who arrived at the Golden Lamp probably signed this one after another. Battler, we're signing in Tomitake's photography debut. I'm just kidding. Battler, now that you are here, everyone is gathered. Listen carefully. The Golden Land is not a world supported by the power of magic alone. The cooperation and approval of all humans who receive happiness here is required. For that sake, we must gather the signatures of everyone here. Last time, the door to the Golden Land was finally opened, but you refused to sign. Although you probably don't remember it, because you refused to sign, this world was once again sealed in darkness. Just hearing it like that, it kind of sounds like I'm the only stubborn one, and that I've been a bother to everyone in various ways. That's because your stubbornness is the real deal. It seems you receive more than just blood from Kinzo. Beato laughed amiably. I should have felt like she was making fun of me, but without thinking I went along with her, laughing and smiling. Magic is a miracle.
Miracles cannot be made complete unless everyone believes. And when you believed in the end, this miracle, the Golden Land was completed.
It looks like I've been a real pain. So, what should I do? First sign here, then Beatrice, you sign here. Quill pens are pretty hard to use, huh? Whoa, it's shot!
You klutz. Shooting ink is a bad omen. Can't you at least write your name quickly? Your pen's wriggling all over the place like a worm.
You should talk! Don't write in katakana! Beatrice is a stylish name, so write it in cursive. You're making the quill in your name cry.
Shut up! In school, didn't they tell you not to use cursive on tests?
Hey, this is a solemn ceremony. Be silent. Very well. We have gathered the 2 signatures as well as the form of the covenant. Both of you, your oath, please. We'll start with Beatrice. Put your hand on the covenant and take the oath. As a good witch, Beatrice swears to continue her studies from this point.
Oh wait, is this from Virgilia? Oops.
As a good witch, Beatrice swears to continue her studies from this point forth to bring happiness to the people. Say
it. Indeed. It's a little embarrassing. As a good witch, Beatrice swears to continue her studies from this point forth to bring happiness to the people. Will that do?
Acceptable. Battler is next. In the same way, Battler, put your hand on the covenant and take the oath. As a member of the Golden Land, Ushiramiya Battler swears to serve for the sake of his own happiness and that of his neighbor. As a member of the Golden Land, Ushiramiya Battler swears to serve for the sake of his own happiness and that of his neighbor. I'm embarrassed too.
Listen, everyone. Here and now we have gathered the oaths of all 18 humans who accept the Golden Land.
Oops, sorry. Listen here, everyone. Here we have gathered all 18 people who've accepted the Golden Land.
When Kinzo proclaimed that, everyone applauded at once, praising us. Since I had been the only stubborn one, and had just been a pain, I felt a little bad being the most celebrated one. And with that, in accordance with the ancient rites, we asked that Battler, the last to make the oath, to sign the invitation to the Golden Land. This is something that invites the Golden Witch, Beatrice, to the Golden Land. The Golden Land welcomes the Golden Witch through the consensus of those who have acknowledged it, and becomes complete.
Battler, I will read it out loud. Listen carefully. The 18 of us accept Beatrice as the Golden Witch and welcome her to the Golden Land.
What's going on with you? You won't be invited unless I send an invitation. That does seem to be the ceremony. It feels stiff even to me. Why don't we end it quickly? I've been so hungry for a while now.
Come to think of it, I've only been pecking at canned foods and haven't eaten anything good. Let's quickly finish this signing. Then we can eat Goto's meatball cooking. What's this? I acknowledge you as a witch. Huh? That's pretty simple. Damn you, grandfather, exaggerating so much.
Come on, quickly. Sign right here.
Huh?
Quickly, sign.
With slightly weird and uncomfortable smiles, the 2 of them were demanding that I sign. At that time, an incredible sound like a glass window breaking reverberated through the hall, and the bustling tumult faded into the complete silence. I dropped the quill pen and turned around, trying to see what had happened. When I did, where had she come from? A human who clearly hadn't been here a short while ago was in the very center of the hall looking up at us. Who's that? A girl? She probably was the same age as Jessica and me, but I didn't know that face. None of the other people here knew that face either.
Who are you? Who is this? Where'd you come from? Those without invitations are not needed at my party. Servants, kick her out!
As you command. Surround her! The 7 Sisters of Purgatory surrounded her from 7 directions, taking out the magical blades that drew purple curves and blocking her. And from out of nowhere, shuffling goat-head servants appeared in great numbers, surrounded the girl. On top of that, the Chester sisters stood in front of Beato like a wall, readying a golden bow and pulling back the bowstring.
but the girl didn't move at all. On the contrary, she was still staring at us on the landing, as though she didn't mind at all. Who was she looking at? Beato? Grandfather? Could it be me? Yes. The girl was staring straight into my eyes, glaring. Then after our eyes met perfectly, she yelled, "You mustn't sign that! Are you going to accept your own defeat? Don't be tricked by the witch!" Huh? By the witch? Huh? At that time, something incredibly strong lifted me by the nape of my neck. What's going on? And after being made to turn around behind me, I saw Virgilia with an eerie smile on her face and the muscular forms of the goat monsters. Goat monsters that looked about 2 meters tall was grabbing me with an arm as thick as a log. There is no need to listen to an uninvited guest. Come, offer your signature as well. On this written oath, Ushumi Ballet acknowledges the existence of witches. Come now, sign the written oath. Ow, 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 ow. Damn it, let go! As the goat monsters held me down with the power of a vice, they forced me to grab the quill pen. I couldn't even touch the floor with my feet, much less resist. Battler, why are you resisting? Weren't you just about to sign willingly? Don't change your mind now after all that, okay? Didn't you think for an instant it might be okay to acknowledge witches? You thought that, right? I was tricked? That's insane! Beato isn't that kind of... Interesting. Sorry, battler. I am that kind of person. Ah, it's useless now. It looks like sentimental sob stories don't suit me. Teacher, I'm counting on you to use all your strength. That was such a plain role to play and I got so bored. I don't know who you are, girl, but I'll beat you to death, mash you, and crush you until threads start trailing, okay? I'll make you regret being born a woman. As Beato waved her golden pipe, the massive chandelier in the hall was electrocuted, and from that, a terrible purple thunderbolt fell. It should have been a direct hit on the girl right below it, turning her to ash. However, not a single hair was singed. Huh. So your sudden appearance here wasn't just a fluke. Tell me, state your name. I don't have any name to give you. More importantly, you idiot! How long are you going to be tricked? You softy! Figure it out already! This is all the witch's trap. Those words were aimed at me. This is all the witch's trap, she says? That can't be. Beato reformed and swore to become a good witch. Beato, all this about traps, it's all a lie, right? Please, tell me it's a lie. Sorry, battler. It was pretty fun. Sure, I just did what teacher told me, but look how great it turned out. Apparently, if you start all hostile and needlessly brutal, and then turn incompetent and solve at just the right moment, you can spark a huge bump on your affection meter, right? I've heard villains who start all lovey-dovey and then freak the shit out are all the rage these days, right? Even I studied a bunch of those manga, anime, and galga that have been so popular lately, you see? And for you, just as expected, it was tears please and you're down. Idiot! What a truly simple person. I'll call this the North Wind, the Sun strategy. That's not... Damn you! You bastard! How could you trick me? Yes, that expression suits you the most. That caring expression of yours doesn't really... Oh, let me try again. Yes, that expression suits you the most. That caring expression of yours doesn't really suit me after all. It made my back itch and I was frantically trying not to let it get to me.
Too bad witches never reform. You take care of the signature, teacher. This uninvited guest is my prey. Come, you can no longer refuse to sign. Come on, look. Sign it and offer your body, your mind, and your soul. When Virgilia lifted her chin as a signal, the goat monsters with even more vice-like power forced my arm to approach the parchment. Ow! Oh my god, these guys are trying to make me sign even if it breaks my arm! Then a bright red light burst open with me at the center, knocking the witches and the goat monsters away. Did that girl save me? Who in the world is that? I don't have a clue! How long do you plan to keep playing in a place like this? Give it a rest. I'm jealous of you. I'm glad you saved me, but that's a pretty cruel way to say it. Sorry, but who are you? Witch of Rokenjima. Give him back! Who would do that, you fool? Valor is my toy. My most favorite toy in the world. I won't get tired of him. I won't throw him away, and I won't hand him over to anyone. Even Balor is enjoying this to the fullest. Together with me, he's having so much fun playing. No matter who you are, I won't let you get in the way. Yeah, it looks like you're having a lot of fun. It makes me so jealous, it ticks me off. Here you are in a place like this, confined and having a loud, noisy time with everyone. With all these beautiful witches around to pamper you. You must be having so much fun that you don't even want to go back. Are you talking to me? Wait, you've got the wrong idea. This is a pain for me too. What do you mean fun? You don't know what I've been through. What have you been through? You had fun living with Mom and Dad, and you played around with all the cousins, and you get to play with these wacky witches for all eternity. Don't you recognize the happiness you have? Can't you see how jealous I am of you all? So much that I wish I could join in too. I'm sorry, but I'll have to turn you down there. I'm satisfied with the toy I have. A rude toy like you is not fitting for my toy box. Yes, I understand. Who would ever play with someone like you? But I will thank you just a little for letting me meet everyone like this. Who are you? You couldn't be... I see, is that it? Yes, I understand. I know who you are. I see. So you are the piece Lady Berncastle threw in. How amusing. Why don't I formally invite you to my party? I welcome you fully. Along with Battler, I'll play nicely. Break you, kill you, crush you, turn you to ash, mix you with bread dough, and bake you until you're fluffy. It's useless. It's all useless. You can't do that. On the Rokenjima of 1986, I'll expose everything that happened to the light of day. I'll show you that before the truth, you're like an icicle scared of the coming spring. Prepare yourself, Golden Witch. Beatrice! Cast Beatrice, Ishuri, and Battler, died in the Night Twilight. Yes, I'm reading these, I don't care. Ava Beatrice, Ushuramiya Angie. Huh? I don't remember seeing Angie. Ushuramiya Kinzo, died in the first Twilight. Ushuramiya Kraus, died in the 7th Twilight. Ushuramiya Natsuki, died in the 8th Twilight. Ushuramiya Jessica, died in the 10th Twilight. Ushuramiya Ava, returned alive. Ushuramiya Hideyoshi, died in the 5th Twilight. Ushuramiya George, died in the 9th Twilight. Ushuramiya Rudolph, died in the 4th Twilight. Ushuramiya Kyrie, died in the 6th Twilight. Ushuramiya Rosa, died in the 2nd Twilight. Ushuramiya Maria.
Nanjo Terumasa, die in the 9th twilight. Ronoe Genji, die in the 1st twilight. Shannon. Kano. Goda Toshiro. Kumasawa Chia. Virgilia. Ronobe. Lucifer. Leviathan. Satan. Belphegor. Mammon. Beelzebub. Asmodeus. Jester 410. Jester 45. All the goats. Lambda Delta. Burn Castle. Third game. Banquet of the Golden Witch result. And so the Golden Land once crumbled into the darkness. However, a victor finally appeared in the game of the Golden Witch. The victor is the new Golden Witch, Ava Beatrice. It was she who solved the riddle of the gold before the time was up. The 17 all died. When the seagulls cried, there was but one survivor. I'm so glad I could read all of that without not being able to read all of them like in the first one. Alright, it's the tippies and the question marks time. And everything. And the tea party too. What the hell? Oh, right, that's the achievement. Okay, haven't done that yet. Tea party! Episode 3 tea party! Woohoo! I never expected Lady Barncastle's piece to barge in at the very end. I searched all over the place for a piece fitting for a game with you. I was sure you'd like it. What's with that piece? Who was that person? Who was it? She didn't say her name. That's mean. Hey, don't you think so too? I have a general idea, or rather, I imagine most people would have figured it out. It wasn't in the credit scene, totally not. Most people? Well, I don't get it. And it was that character's first appearance, wasn't it? If she doesn't say her name, I won't understand. The players won't understand. No one will understand, right? Beato, don't bother telling her. See? Isn't she a funny kid? Indeed. Lady Lambda Delta's innocent airhead side is truly precious and amusing. Come on! Why don't you tell me? You meanie! In exchange, I'll teach you a special secret that only I know. So tell me! Huh? A special secret, you say? I want to hear. Nah, if you want me to tell you first tell me who that girl really was. The secret I know for sure is awesome. After all, it's about as awesome as knowing that Santa actually is Daddy. Huh? I said it, sorry. I bet you were so shocked that I turned your world upside down, right? So your father was the one who came to your place, Lambda? He came? Wait, what do you mean? Lord Santa Claus only visits the home of children with pure hearts. I guess he didn't come to your place, did he? Well, Lord Santa Claus is gracious, unless you're a really bad scoundrel.
He'll give you a present. After all, he even gave them to me. As you grow, your heart is hardened. He stops coming, doesn't he?
Oh wait, sorry, that was Burn Castle. Let's try again. As you grow and your heart is hardened, he stops coming, doesn't he? How old were you, Beato, when he stopped coming?
Indeed. He kept coming until I was about 12. When my maiden's heart awoke, I quickly got someone embarrassed about Lord Santa coming. After I wrote, "Thanks for everything, that's enough. So make sure you splurge on the last set of presents." He stopped coming. Oh, when I was looking forward to it too. How old were you when he stopped coming, Lady Burncastle?
I was pretty wild. It happened fairly early. I think when I was about 9. Something about that beard really irritated me, so I waited in my futon with some sewing scissors ready, trying to cut it off. What a painful age.
So as far back as Lady Lambda Delta can remember, Lord Santa Claus never came to see her, huh? He usually comes until the last year of elementary school or during middle school.
Maybe we should take her to a doctor. I hear that being too precocious can have negative side effects on the growth of mind and body. Yeah, you can definitely see some of those negative side effects.
Hey, what are you people talking about?
It truly is boisterous when 3 witches gather.
If you're talking about a secret on that level, I doubt this will be worth listening to. Can I go now? I have to get ready for the next game.
What? Hey, wait a sec! Tell me who that woman really was!
Well then, tell me this special secret of yours first. If it's good enough, then I'll tell you.
Okay, I'll tell you, because it's a really special secret. Remember in this game there was a girl who found the gold and became the new witch, right?
Indeed. And just what kind of secret might that person have?
I figured out how that girl really is. Does anyone know? There was a hint in the way that she talked. Remember that girl said a lot, didn't she? If only you just blah, right? Yes, that phrase is the key point. If only, yes. She was actually Ushirimiya Ava. What do you think? Are you shocked?
Huh, I never noticed that. To think that there would be a hint in a place like that.
You're a real good sport, Beato. This kid tends to get full of herself, so try not to overdo it. See you, I'm leaving.
Wait! It's not fair if you just listen to my secret and don't tell me yours! Tell me who she really was!
Your secret was so amazing that mine just wouldn't match up. So exchange. I'll teach you a special secret. I'll tell you the name of the culprit in the game called Higurashi no Naku Koroni.
Don't say it! I'm still playing it!
Oops, was that? Wait, that's Burncastle. See you, Beato. The black tea was delicious. However, the repertoire of jam on the crackers was lacking. Add some gochujang chili paste every once in a while. It goes great with Russian tea. Later.
Oh, I see. I shall try it. I'll call for some after preparing the next game. Until then, feel free to polish up your strategy at your leisure.
Yes, I'll do that. This last game was pretty interesting. Later.
Hey! Wait a sec! Tell me!
She just leaves. Before anything, let me just cut in. Because in the Japanese one, it's like she would always say Shinji Eba or something like that. I don't know. It's some Japanese pun thing. It won't translate well in the English, so whatever. Okay. Let's start.
My, you two really are close.
Yes, that's right. Oh,
Oh, shit, that was bad. Let's try that again.
yes, that's right. I really like you, Berncastle. You could even say I love you. I want to gouge out your eyes so that you can see no one other than me. Oh, that would be so wonderful. It'd be great to dunk them in black tea.
To think that you would be so entranced, Lady Lambda Delta. I have a serious responsibility. Still, this last game was really close. I was a breath away from getting battler.
Beto, can I ask you something?
What is it? I won't tell you that girl's name.
When are you going to stop fooling around? Are you even trying to win? Lambda Delta threatened her with a low voice that she never used in front of Berncastle. It completely blew away the calm atmosphere that had been there until a moment ago. You know, I'm supporting you because you're supposed to be a witch who can win against Berncastle. If you don't have the power to win against her, then I'll abandon you right away, okay?
How harsh of you. What about me dissatisfies you? As you know, my game board is perfect. Lady Berncastle will never be able to win.
Yeah, that's right. Your board truly is impressive. It truly is impressive and a perfect game board that Berncastle definitely won't be able to win in, not even after 100 years, or even after 1,000 years. That's why I made you a witch in exchange for letting me borrow it. If I stop being your guardian, you'll immediately go back to being a human. Make sure you don't forget that no matter how much incredible magical power you hold, you're nothing more than a temporary witch.
I understand. I'm grateful to you.
Don't speak so casually to me. I'll forgive that when Berncastle's around, but not when she isn't. I bet you started to forget how much you owe me.
That is not so.
You really are disgusting. Go ahead and talk the way you usually do, but be mindful of what you say. I have surprisingly short temper, you see.
Indeed.
Let's get back to what we were discussing. Your game board truly is perfect. You should be able to beat the castle without any trouble, but that kid won't surrender easily. She'll challenge you over and over.
That is no problem, and has been certified by you, Lady Lambda Delta. My game board is perfect.
Yeah, that's right. It's perfect. But are you, the player, perfect as well?
What do you mean by that?
What do I mean? That's what I want to hear. You play around a lot in your game. Sometimes that ends up confusing Berncastle, so at first I thought it was some special strategy of yours. But I get the feeling that's not quite true. Rather than toying with the opponent in your match you can win, you don't actually care whether you win or lose, right?
Ridiculous. How could that be?
You know what? Your role is to make Berncastle surrender. In other words, that means being the victor in this game for all eternity. As long as you keep trying to become the victor with certainty, then I'll give you my power as the Witch of Certainty. However, if you find a way that doesn't eliminate any possibility of your loss, that's a different story.
Of course, this is a game. As Lady Berncastle will lose when I win, I will sometimes lose when she wins. The possibility of loss always exists. Therefore, I will...
This is why you're useless. There's no need for you to be a game board. You just have to be a birdcage that can lock Berncastle up here for all eternity. What's the role of a birdcage? Making certain the little bird inside never escapes. What's a birdcage worth if it has cracks that sometimes lets a bird out?
Of course, games exist for the purpose of winning, and it is impossible for me to lose. Therefore, I will continue to win, as you wish, for all eternity.
Good answer. That'll be fine. I'll allow you to play around and use fakes as part of your tactics, and it ended up being useful during parts of this round. But you know what? If you make a move hoping for anything else other than victory, make sure you're prepared for something amazing, okay?
I will not do such a thing. I swear it.
Because originally, you weren't even a witch, and at any time, I'll remind you what a truly shabby creature you were. If you betray my expectations, that is. As soon as you do, you can look forward to a fun punishment game. In the the world of billions of fragments, I'll send you into the most miserable one and seal you there. You were already miserable to start with, so there's gonna be some really miserable fragments out there for the picking. I love you, Burncastle. Struggle in Beatrice's birdcage as much as you like, and over the course of 1,000 years, realize that you can no longer escape. And when you surrender, I'll train you so you can't do anything than cry in the palm of my hand.
Well. Hey, that's Shion's line. fun, or underground torture chamber. The question mark time. Bing bong.
12 years later. October 4th, 1998. A monotonous electric sound kept on repeating. The room was covered with hygienic tones. In other words, an emotionless white. It was a room at a certain university hospital. Neither her doctors nor the person herself had any doubts that this room, which had a price so high that no commoner could afford to spend a single night there, would be the last room she ever saw. Was the person on the bed Ava? Even if someone told you that was so, she was unbelievably aged and worn out. The well-built man in a suit waiting in the corner near the door was having a whispered conversation through an intercom with someone outside. He was a guard protecting Ava's person. After telling the person on the other end of the intercom to wait, he approached Ava's bed. Ava had been awake for a short while. However, she started at a single point in an empty space, as though her mind was not in the same place.
Angie has arrived in the lobby below. Should we let her pass?
For a long time, Ava didn't answer. However, bit by bit, her eyes began to regain her focus. She gave a small nod, indicating she didn't mind if they called Angie. It had been Ava who called her, and she was right on time. By this point, Ava would refuse anyone who wanted a meeting without an appointment. The room was dark, even though it was still light outside, because the curtains were always closed. There was always one guard waiting in the room and 3 more waiting in the corridor and the lobby. They were all there to protect Ava's person. Eventually, there was a sound of a knock. There was also a message from the intercom that the guest body check had been completed with no problems. The door was unlocked and then opened. And a high school-aged girl was standing there.
Chairman, Angie has arrived.
Ava reacted and turned her face toward the guest. However, instead of reacting to the guard's call, maybe it would be better to say she reacted to the smell of Angie's makeup. After being shut up in this room for so long, Ava was sensitive to even small changes in smell.
So you came, Angie.
I came. You did call me. On Ava's face, there was no trace of a person warmly welcoming their niece. And on Angie's face, you couldn't see the expression of one pleased to meet with her aunt. Ava waved her arm, which had grown as thin as a withered branch, and motioned for the guard to leave. The guard bowed silently and went out into the hall. It's not only stuffy, but dark too. Can I open the curtains?
Is your plan for that hitman you hired to shoot me through that window?
I wish I could get it hired to assassinate you. All I'd have to do is relax at home for a month and the job would take care of itself. Their discussion was quite morbid for an aunt and niece. However, they didn't look like they were joking. At the very least, Ava believed that someone was after her life. All of the Ushiromiya family's massive fortune had come into the possession of Ushiromiya Ava. It was said that this fortune also included the 10 tons of hidden gold that Ushiromiya Kinzo was rumored to have hidden. While this vast wealth lay in Ava's cunning, sly, and suspicious hands, no one was able to complain. But it was rumored that as soon as it was passed down onto Angie, who was no more than a young girl, certain people were plotting to snatch it away. By now, Ava and Angie were Kinzo's only descendants. If Ava died, all that wealth would go to Angie. And if Angie were to be killed as well, that wealth would go to the family of Angie's mother, Kirie. In this sense, not only Ava but Angie as well were in a position where it wouldn't be odd at all for their lives to be targeted by some unknown person. And Ava had hated Angie for a long time. This is because she knew that after losing her only precious son, George, the inheritor of her own wealth would be none other than the girl who had been absent at the family conference 12 years ago, and who had survived. Ava shunned Angie, disliked her, and even hated her. She isolated Angie in a special school and separated her from her youth and happiness normal people have, trying to keep her as a pet until death. However, Ava had succumbed to an incurable illness, and ironically her remaining life was estimated to be the same as Kinzo's, who had been at the family conference 12 years ago. Both Ava and Angie hated each other. Even though they were at each other's last blood relatives, they hated each other so much they hoped the other would die quickly. And why did you go to all the trouble of calling for me?
I don't have much time left. These quack doctors still can't detect any of the poison that's filling me up. I know. I'm sure some secret assassination drug was used by those Soviet KGBs. Oh, I'm going to be killed. I'm gonna be killed. Isn't that great? Very soon I will die, which will surely be quite a load off your back.
I don't remember my old woman voice for Ava. I'll probably have to revoice it. I'm sorry. What a pitiable person. This always happened. They immediately deviate from the main topic, distorting it into a more unsettling discussion. Ava, who was absolutely paranoid, believed that someone was always after her life. In actual fact, after inheriting the vast wealth of the Ushiromiya family, she had used wild methods just like Kinzo had done in the past, repeatedly making money by any means necessary and creating many enemies along the way. With a massive supply of capital, she had plotted to aggressively buy businesses that were starting to have rapid growth, making them buy it back at a high price under the guise of reconciliation. Ironically, it was the same type of action her husband's company had been hit with 12 years ago. She repeated this constantly for 12 years. She also earned a lot of hatred. If her husband had heard of this from beyond the grave, he might have defended her, saying that the loneliness of losing her family fueled her actions. However, all the people who knew her now, none would defend her. For some time, Ava eloquently spoke of how her life was being targeted, listing off the names of people who hated her, and sneering at the fact that she still hadn't been killed. Even though Angie had heard her own name included in that list, there was no particular change in her expression, and she waited indifferently for Ava to tire herself out.
You see, I really hate you.
I'm honored. Same here.
I built this future for George's sake. To think that it would be snatched away by you. To think that it would be stolen away by Rudolph's daughter. I can't bear it. To think that I would have my fortune stolen away, without even leaving behind a child. That I cannot forgive.
If only you just give away all your fortune to charity. What about all those religious people you used to go so far out of your way to find?
They all say the same thing. My excessive wealth has become a burden to me. And they always say something about how I need to give it up and cleanse myself. Then I thought of something. I stopped donating.
For a time, Ava had searched for founders of several strange and new religious cults, perhaps seeking peace in her heart. But they gave her heart no relief, and if anything, they ended up increasing her paranoia further. If you have too much money, why don't you start buying up thoroughbreds and make some corned beef?
I thought of something even more interesting. I worried over it a lot. What I could do to make something horrible for you. I thought about killing you. I also thought about erasing all of my wealth, leaving you penniless, and selling you off to a slave trader or something. Wouldn't that be wonderful? You'd have your arms and legs chopped off and be forced to take customers until you died. Ah, that would be so wonderful.
Is this fun for you?
Oh, yes it is. It's fun to scare you, but very soon I will die. So I thought about how I might continue to cause you pain even after my death, and then it was surprisingly simple. I called you because I wanted to talk about it.
I have midterms coming up. Keep it brief.
I have decided I'll have you inherit all of my fortune.
Oh.
Not only that, but I decided that until the very day I die, I'll expand that fortune as much as I can, inflating it to massive proportions, or having you inherit all of it. Can you even imagine what it would be like?
I don't get it, because it's stupid.
That's right. You don't get it, do you? Look forward to it. It really is fun being rich. Every day yokai from across Japan come to play. From now on, your entire life will be followed by all talk shows and weekly magazines. The media will criticize me no matter what I do or don't do. If I donate, they'll attack me for being burquoise, and if I hesitate, I'll be abused as a miser. Oh, every day really is wonderful, you see. I decided it'd be great to let you have that kind of life when you're so young and have so much ahead of you. Doesn't that sound absolutely wonderful?
Looks like the public's opinions of you was all spot on.
Too true. Yes, that is too true. Go ahead. Abuse me as much as you want. Soon you'll face that same criticism. Japanese culture dictates that good people live in honorable poverty, while the wealthy should just die. No matter what you do or do not do, you'll eventually be lifted up as a symbol of envy and hate across Japan. I wonder how twisted your life will become after living that way. You have no allies. No one will listen to your worries. Abusing you will become a public sport, and no one can stop that. Oh, Angie. Oh, I'm really looking forward to it. I wonder how you'll live your life and how you'll end it. Enjoy the fullest life of being unable to trust anyone in the world, being unable to love anyone, being unable to talk with anyone. I'll be patiently waiting for you to take that story of hardship down with you into hell.
Her insane laughter turned into a painful cough, without changing her expression in the slightest, looking completely unconcerned. Angie stared at the only survivor of Rokenjima. Perhaps because he found that violent coughing suspicious, the guard gave a short knock on the door and rushed in at the same time. Angie glanced at him, wordlessly making it clear that she didn't intend to move a step from where she was. Angie was prepared for some kind of trap to frame her in Ava's death. However, that was fortunately a needless fear. As the guard rubbed Ava's back, he poured hot water from the thermos into a mug. As he did, Ava kept coughing, apparently in pain, and she figured this was probably the last she'd see of the Rokenjima witch's final days. Eventually, the coughing subsided. Ava regained her normal breathing. However, the glittering madness inside her eyes hadn't subsided in the slightest.
And now I'll give to you that cursed mass of gold and the Ushirimiya family headship, as well as the name of the Golden Witch, Beatrice. Enjoy the insane, twisted rest of your life, fitting for the name of the witch.
I don't need that. More importantly, tell me, on that day, what happened on Rokenjima? I don't believe it was an accident. Tell me the truth of what happened that day, and why father, mother, and Nissan died.
Oh, yes. That's the best way I have to harass you, isn't it? What happened on that day? What happened on this day in 1986? You want to know what they said before they died, right? I won't tell you. I'll leave behind the cursed gold. But you know what? I'll take the truth you seek with me to hell. That's the best way I can torment you. Oh, are you mad? If you want to hear it so much, try going to hell and asking your family there. In that case, you better die right now, right? If only you just give up and die right now.
That laugh continued until she started coughing again. That cough did not subside until she started moaning and going into convulsions. Sorry, I'll have to revoice the old woman voice. Like, I don't know when, but probably not on stream, because I forgot how it should sound. October 4th, 1986. On Rokkenjima, the Ushiromiya family's customary and final family conference was held. And on the next day, October 5th, an extremely unfortunate accident occurred and the Ushiromiya family was wiped out. Fortunately, Ushiromiya Eva escaped from that and inherited almost all of the Ushiromiya family's fortune. However, due to many turbulent rumors surrounding the Ushiromiya family and the way Eva acted afterwards, and her unnatural actions at the time of the unfortunate accident, the public was in an uproar whether this might have been a conspiracy to get all the inheritance for herself. Under the pressure from the public, prosecutors repeatedly tried to investigate the matter. The media began tracing the outline of a conspiracy they called the Rokkenjima suspicion, but in the end they weren't even able to find proof that this unfortunate accident was a crime. However, because the media continued to give the impression that Rokkenjima suspicion was a conspiracy of Eva's, public opinion began to believe that she was the true culprit. Of course, that was also influenced by the bad impression caused by all the easily condemnable, overbearing financial activity which she had carried out using that vast wealth. Every time she did something and the rumors started spreading, the media would bring back the Rokkenjima suspicion, blaming the criminal justice system by saying that she was the true culprit, and the only reason she hadn't been arrested was because even the police had been bribed. So the impression that she was a great villain grew stronger and stronger. Her heart eventually degenerated. And ironically, it began to transfigure her into some kind of human that the public expected. By now, Eva had no one she could trust and no family. After her beloved husband passed away, the talk shows occasionally mentioned his company, saying it was run recklessly while criticizing and disgracing its former accomplishments. Even her beloved son, George, was dramatized as some stereotypical rich, lazy son that the public expected. And no one even wanted to know what the simple, honest character he possessed. As to how much all this hurt Eva and ran her to ruin, no one cared. Fuck those people. Honestly, the public was only interested out of curiosity about how a super rich evil woman who killed her whole family lived in her pitiful later years. So that happened more and more, and eventually, Ava's personality was transfigured until people started calling her a lunatic. It was said that this sometimes reminded her of her father, whom she once admired in his later years, and that she laughed at herself with scorn. And on the day of the final family conference, because Ushiromiya Rudolph's daughter Angie had been sick and stayed with her mother's family, she had not participated. At the age of 6, she'd lost her family and gained Ava as her guardian. Since Angie had become Ava's only blood relative, Ava took very good care of her. She had imposing guards surrounding Angie's person at all times to prevent her from coming to harm. Angie had even had her right to play with friends, to come home from school together, and to enjoy the seasons together stolen away, so that she can live a full and pleasant school life. Ava had sent Angie to an elegant boarding school that took care of her every need, completely isolating her from the world. She didn't even know the popular songs that girls her age might hum. She was never given a chance to enjoy window shopping with her friends or stuffing her mouth with crepes, much less an encounter with a member of the opposite sex to make her heart throb. Angie did not have a single friend. If anyone carelessly acted friendly with Angie, They'd be scolded by the guards or else the teachers. All of them were strictly ordered not to let shabby humans approach the door of the esteemed Ushiromiya family. During the time, the talk shows were always mentioning Ushiromiya Eva, always spreading rumors about her countless financial misdeeds. Those who knew her daughter was naturally began to keep their distance. Even now, she was called a witch at school, and any time something bad happened, even if there was no proof, it'd be whispered as though it were the absolute truth, that she had imposed her will on the school staff. Ugh, fuck that shit. Fuck that. The environment makes the person. By now, she had a heart as wild as those around her feared. No one trusted her, so she never bothered to believe in anyone. No one loved her, so she never even tried to love. And when Ava caught an incurable illness on top of all this, it was whispered that this too was a conspiracy, and this time Angie was set up as the mastermind. Everyone whispered the daughters of witches are witches too. Even the talk shows and the weekly magazines whispered that. So Angie also accepted it as though it was definitely no. As though it was obviously true. Therefore, since she already believed that she was a witch, when she heard the name of the Golden Witch was being turned over to her, she only felt like saying, "You just figured that out now?" However, she was at least sure of one thing. This title of the witch that she had inherited would definitely never be inherited by anyone else. She'd be the last head of the Ushiromiya family and the last lonely Golden Witch. Man, screw all that shit with that stuff. Angie could be seen on the roof of the skyscraper. Compared to the winds of the world that had beaten down upon her until now, this strong cold wind was warm and pleasant. Below her lay a beautiful nighttime scene and a dazzling river of red and white lights. It was supposed to be clear out that night, so there really should have been countless stars stretching out over the sky. However, the light from the ground was too bright, so you couldn't see them at all. Angie couldn't help but think what she truly thought must lie in that unseen starlight. The world of reality below her looked so far away from here. She could imagine that this place was the closest to the world that she should really be in. There was only one thing that Angie cursed. Why had she not been able to go to the family conference on that day 12 years ago? Even though if she had gone, it probably would have been possible for her to stay with her family forever. Lately, she'd been dreaming about her family over and over again. The person I was 12 years ago calls out frantically, urging them not to go to the family conference. But both Dad and Mom are too far away, and my hand won't reach them. Battler always loved me a lot, and he always pat my head. But even though it looks like that hand's about to touch me, it doesn't even reach. For some reason, I started having that dream over and over. Every time I had that same dream, I uselessly tried to stretch out my hand even more forcefully, over and over and over. Even if only Balor had lived, then perhaps we'd at least be able to support each other in my cold and lonely reality. But his hand never reaches me. Even if I climb to the roof of this tall building, I'm so far away from all of them. A mysterious girl appears in my dreams and urges me. She urges me to find the truth of what happened 12 years ago. If only I could learn everything that happened to Father and the rest of them on that day. Would they come back? At least one of them? There was no way that anyone would answer that question for her. I get it. In this world, I have no family or friends, so let's go. Let's go home, to where my family is. From the start, Angie's figure had been on the outer side of the fence. The scenery below her eyes was distant, beautiful, and so fantastical that it didn't actually give rise to fear. If I look down, I'll surely be swallowed up by the world below. So I looked up, because I wanted to be taken to the world above, the world where my family was. Who cares about vast wealth, Who cares about cursed gold? Who cares about the golden witch Beatrice? What I really want, even a mound of gold couldn't get me. What I need for that is to take a single step forward. Just that little bit of courage. At that moment, I definitely heard a voice. It was a voice I knew. A voice that had called out to me in my dreams for so long. Before my eyes, in other words, mid-air above that jet black nighttime scenery, there was a figure of a girl I'd seen in my dreams. She spoke again with the same voice I heard in those dreams. Your assistance is required. My assistance? Who needs it? Your family needs it. Your family has been eternally imprisoned in the span from this day 12 years ago until the following day. If I save them, does that mean my family will come home? When I asked that question, I had most wanted to, the girl cruelly stopped talking and hung her head. I cannot promise that. The enemy is the Golden Witch Beatrice, a mighty opponent. I cannot oppose her. But another Golden Witch might be able to manage something. I don't know what you're talking about. The only one who could oppose the Beatrice of 1986 is the final Beatrice of 1998. In other words, you, ANGE. ANGE Beatrice. That witch from 12 years ago took away my family? That's right. She is your foe. The root cause that always leads to your future of isolation. My family's foe. In exchange, I will search for a fragment of the ideal world that you wish for. A world where your family comes home. I make no promises that your desire will be granted. Beatrice's game board in 1986 is quite perfect. I had planned on bringing you the ideal fragment as a present today, but I still can't find it. This is a very firm fate. I haven't seen the likes of it since the time I fought Lambda Delta. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm giving you a chance for revenge. In exchange, I promise to search for her and bring you the happiest resolution among the possibilities you're capable of accepting. Revenge. It may be a fruitless effort. Even if you succeed in your revenge, there's no definite proof that your family will return. Even if you manage to hit a miraculous probability, you may only be able to bring one person back, if that.
Angie understood the meaning of that dream. That dream where it seemed that with just a little more stretching, her hand might be able to at least reach Battler. A miraculous probability means it's still higher than 0, right? Is it 1%?
Trying to read any probabilities before the result is useless, so I cannot tell you that number.
But it'll definitely be slightly more likely than if I do nothing.
Yes, as long as you do not throw that desire of yours away. But be prepared. It is extremely close to 0.
Okay. I'll take you up on that offer.
Are you sure? You probably won't be able to return here again.
This isn't the world I'm supposed to be in. I'll find the world that I'm supposed to be in myself. Tell me your name.
The Witch of Miracles, Burn Castle. And by that name, I acknowledge you as the Golden Witch, ANGE Beatrice. As of now, you are a true witch.
The instant she proclaimed that I was a witch, I felt dizzy, as though something inside me had changed drastically. At that time, I heard a clunk. It was the sound of the door that opened at the staircase to the roof. It was Aunt Ava's guards. They're the only guards in that name. Aren't they the cage that wraps the tights around me, shutting me in? They saw that I was already on the other side of the fence and dashed forward, horrified. 20, we surround the target. Request it back up on the roof. Angie, we're looking for you. It's dangerous there, so quickly, come this way.
What's that? My fan club. I'm pretty popular. No point in getting caught. Let's go. Looking annoyed, Castle turned on her heels. In a jet black sky, watching that perfectly casual gesture, I followed her as though it was completely normal.
Angie! Wait! Don't be hasty! Look out!
Ah, it's useless. It's all useless. Well then, see you again next time. Please send a limo to get me, because everyone here will be there too. See you.
Angie!
Alright, tips time! Let's go through episode 3 tips. Alright. Ushiromiya Angie, the daughter of Rudolph and Kyrie, Balor's younger sister from a different mother. She hasn't come in contact with Balor often, but is extremely fond and respectful of him. She was sick and absent during the family conference, so she always ends up surviving in solitude. A very unfortunate girl whose heart is in tatters. Has a bad habit of always walking around with massive amounts of cash and throwing it out to whoever comes first. Let's try to do this. Oh, it didn't work. Okay. Let's see. Ushiromiya Kraus. His corpse was found in the Rose Garden Arbor. The cause of his death is assumed to be strangling with a rope-like object. A stake-shaped weapon was sticking out of his thigh. If only there wasn't that stupid epitaph, I wouldn't have needed such a stake. What a pain. Ushiromiya Natsuhi. Her corpse was found in the Rose Garden Arbor. The cause of her death is assumed to be strangling with a rope-like object. A stake-shaped weapon was sticking out of her calf. Why do I even have to follow the epitaph in the first place? Is this some kind of game? Okay, let's see who else. Attending physician Nanjo. His corpse was found in the hallway in the front of the mansion's servant room. This weapon was used on him is assumed to be a gun or a spear-shaped object. Just a little longer, and he probably would have managed to return alive. However, in the very end, the witch did not permit that. Ushiromiya George. His corpse was found in the mansion's parlor. The weapon used on him is assumed to be a gun or a spear-shaped object. In exchange for his soul, the witch gave him 8 numbers. 07151129. If you say it, a small golden lamp will be opened. Huh, what does that mean? Did I read that part? I don't remember. Oh, okay. Okay. Who else was there? Oh, right. Okay. Ushiromiya Jessica. Missing. She certainly was joined with Canon in this golden land. They both apologized for their own cowardice, communicating their true and honest feelings, and they hugged each other until their final moments. Afterwards, she was chewed to bits by the demons and went to hell. It's alright, Canon is with her. Ushiromiya Battler, shot to death by Ushiromiya Eva inside the mansion. The weapon was a Winchester from Kinzo's collection. Jessica had lost her eyesight, along with Battler. Wolfson Chief's puzzle. Ava. Huh? Why didn't it work?
Oh well.
Okay. Lambda Delta, the witch of certainty who has lived for 1,000 years. She embodies the idea that hard workers are rewarded and is revered even by humans. Though she is a witch, she does not stray far from the concepts of humans. For that reason, her power, as one worshipped by humans, is incalculable. However, she is fickle about whose efforts she chooses to reward, and in many cases, she bestows her favor upon those who entertain her the most. Her immense and swift and terrifying power can make any witch surrender in an instant. However, she's often reckless, and Burnt Castle was able to take full advantage of that. Burnt Castle. Oh, wait. Wait, didn't I read these before? Ah, shit. My bad. Okay. ANGE Beatrice, the final witch born in 1998. She was named by Ava as her successor and was accepted with Burnt Castle as her guardian. She had to start from square one as a witch, but because she exists 12 years in the future, she possesses the ultimate sort of magical resistance, for none of Beatrice's magic can target her. Furthermore, in a manner opposite to her brother's magical resistance, she has a natural talent for attacks against anything of a magical nature. She holds tremendous potential for both offense and defense. However, the distance is vast. 12 years is a long time. Okay. Tips time. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Ushiromiya Rosa and Ushiromiya Maria died in the second twilight, offered up as a sacrifice for the new witch. Okay. Ushiromiya Rudolph died in the fourth twilight, forehead gouged by the stake of Asmodeus. Ushiromiya Hideyoshi died in the fifth twilight, chest gouged by the stake of Beelzebub. Ushiromiya Kirei died in the sixth twilight, stomach gouged by the stake of Mammon. Ushiromiya Kraus died on the seventh twilight, thigh gouged by the stake of Lucifer. Ushiromiya Natsuhi died on the eighth twilight, foot gouged by the stake of Satan. The witch Beatrice revived on the ninth twilight. This time she awakened as a true witch. Ushiromiya George died on the ninth twilight. And family doctor Nanjo. Ushiromiya Battler. The new witch will not let anyone survive. Ushiromiya Ava solved the riddle of the epitaph, returned from Rokkenjima alive. The witch praised her victory and gave her all the gold and magic. The Chiester Sisters Imperial Guard Corps. An Imperial Guard Corps formed by the Dragon King Pendragon in memory of the flight of Red Dragon, and composed only of sisters. They're technically subordinates of Dragon King, but because of a long relationship with successful generations of Beatrices, it was permitted that 2 Imperial Guard soldiers be lent out. The sisters are assimilated life forms created by magic. For that reason, further sisters with a great variety of personalities are continually being created even now. A great cost must be paid to manifest them in the human world, so summoning them can be quite a tricky prospect, even considering the tremendous fighting power they offer. For that reason, they are so often summoned as honor guards to serve during special ceremonies and the like. The Chiester Golden Bows, one of the articles of sniping equipment used by the Chester Sisters, Imperial Guard Corps. The arrow's trajectory can be controlled at will, but it takes special talent and special training to wield its true potential. For that reason, being able to merely equip it is an honor reserved for high-class snipers. It's a masterpiece anti-armor sniping bow, capable of penetrating a wide variety of armors and barriers, with a rich array of ammo that may be used as an arrow's warhead. As a side note, the ammo primarily used during the story were wire-guided winged pierce rounds. The fact that they were wire-guided makes them heavily resistant to deception and capable of long-distance precision sniping amidst complicated indoor terrain. Regarding the succession of witches. In noble families of witches, family secrets are often inherited by a single child to prevent a propagation of hidden arts and subsequent decline in their quality. This rule applies for the endless witches, so their most secret arts are passed down to a single pupil. Once that is passed down, these arts are to another. They retire to further stem from their propagation. Custom dictates that a wish from another sect make another recommendation before another successor may occur. Lambda Delta recommended Ava, Burnt Castle recommended Angie. It's unknown who recommended Beato. Furthermore, during the story, Beatrice inherited that name along with the position, but that is a very recent innovation. The predecessor was the original Beatrice, and all the endless witches before her had different names. After that, it became customary for the name to be inherited as well, and Ava followed that tradition when giving Angie the name Beatrice. Alright, okay, so we finished that. So tomorrow, I will read episode 4. Good night. Goodbye.